And as you remain in this steady movement forward, you will notice that your inner voice grows kinder, no longer harsh or demanding, but supportive and clear, because understanding has replaced self-judgment, and you will stop punishing yourself for not knowing everything, accepting that learning is a lifelong unfolding, and this acceptance will remove pressure from your heart, allowing you to live with ease rather than constant effort. And you will find that ease does not make you lazy, it makes you focused, and focus will help you give your energy to what truly matters, and slowly you will detach from distractions that once consumed you, not because you force yourself, but because your priorities have shifted, and what no longer aligns will naturally lose its grip, and this clarity will feel freeing, like setting down a weight you carried for too long, and you will become more honest with yourself, no longer pretending to be fine when something hurts, yet no longer allowing pain to define you, and this honesty will strengthen your inner foundation, and you will feel safe acknowledging both your limits and your strengths, knowing that neither disqualifies you, and as you live from this place, your decisions will become simpler, because you are no longer divided inside, and this inner unity will bring peace to your outer world, and conflicts that once drained you will resolve more easily, either through understanding or release, and you will not chase closure from everyone, realizing that peace does not require agreement, and this realization will protect your heart, and when memories surface that once caused pain, they will no longer control you, because healing has softened their hold, and you will remember without reliving, and this is growth, and with growth comes freedom, and with freedom comes responsibility, but you will no longer fear responsibility, because you trust your ability to carry it wisely, and as opportunities arise, you will step into them with humility, not shrinking, not forcing, but present and grounded, and you will no longer wonder if you deserve good things, because you understand that worth was never earned, it was always given, and this truth will change how you receive blessings, allowing gratitude instead of guilt, and as gratitude deepens, joy will follow naturally, not loud or overwhelming, but steady and sincere, and this joy will sustain you through demanding seasons, and even when life feels heavy again, you will know how to rest without giving up, and how to move without rushing, and this balance will keep you whole, and as you continue, your life will quietly become a testimony of resilience, patience, and depth, not because you planned it, but because you lived it, and those who cross your path will sense something genuine in you, something steady, something real, and though they may not have words for it, they will feel encouraged, and this encouragement will ripple outward in ways you may never fully see, and that is enough, and as this journey continues, you will remain rooted, aware, and open, trusting that what unfolds next will meet you when you are ready, just as everything before did, and this trust will carry you forward, calmly, faithfully, and with purpose. And as you continue walking in this awareness, you will notice that even challenges begin to lose their power over your emotions, because you no longer interpret every obstacle as a threat, but as information, and this shift will give you strength without hardness, confidence without pride, and courage without aggression, and you will begin to respond instead of react, choosing wisdom over impulse, and this calm response will change outcomes in ways you once thought required force, and you will see how peace can be more effective than pressure, and how patience can open doors that effort alone never could, and this understanding will settle deeply into how you live, speak, and decide, and you will stop chasing validation, because you already feel affirmed within, and when praise comes it will not inflate you, and when criticism appears it will not crush you, because your center is no longer external. And this stability will become one of your greatest strengths, and you will realize that the very things you once tried to hide, your depth, your sensitivity, your honesty, are the same qualities that now guide others toward clarity, and you will not need to announce your growth, it will be visible in how you listen, how you wait, and how you remain steady when others panic, and people will begin to trust you with their stories, not because you have all the answers, but because you create space where truth can exist safely, and this will remind you that your journey was never only about you, but about what could flow through you once you were ready, and readiness did not come from perfection but from perseverance, and as you look back you will finally see how every moment of endurance strengthened your capacity to carry meaning, and you will feel gratitude instead of resentment, clarity instead of confusion, and acceptance instead of regret, and even when the future feels unknown, you will walk forward without fear, because you have learned that you are supported even when you cannot see the way, and this trust will guide you through new beginnings, unexpected turns, and deeper purpose, and you will continue unfolding, not rushed, not forced, but steady and grounded, knowing that what is meant for you will meet you at the right time, and what is not will fall away without struggle, and this peace will remain with you, shaping your days, calming your nights, and anchoring your heart. As you move forward into all that is still becoming, and as this unfolding continues, you will slowly realize that your heart no longer feels crowded by fear the way it once did, because trust has taken up space where anxiety used to live, and even when uncertainty appears, it no longer overwhelms you, it only invites you to pause, breathe, and listen, and you will begin to see how listening has always been your quiet strength, even when you thought silence meant weakness. And you will understand now that stillness sharpened your awareness, allowing you to notice what others rushed past, and this awareness will guide you gently but firmly, helping you avoid paths that look appealing but lack truth. And as you walk with this discernment, you will feel lighter, not because responsibility has disappeared, but because you no longer carry what was never meant for you, and you will stop trying to fix everything and everyone, realizing that your role is not to rescue but to reflect light. And this realization will bring relief, and you will begin to show up fully without exhausting yourself, giving from fullness instead of pressure, and the peace you carry will quietly calm others, even when words are few, and you will notice how your presence alone becomes reassuring, because it is rooted in authenticity rather than effort, and you will stop doubting your value when things slow down, understanding that rest is not regression but renewal, and you will allow yourself seasons of quiet without guilt, knowing they are essential for strength, and as you do, creativity will rise naturally, ideas will come without strain, and direction will feel clearer, and you will no longer chase meaning, because meaning will reveal itself through alignment, and when challenges return, as they always do, you will face them with steadiness, not denial, not panic, but grounded courage, and you will remember that you have survived moments you once thought would break you, and this memory will anchor you, and instead of asking whether you are capable, you will remember that capability has already been proven through endurance, and you will move forward even when confidence feels quiet rather than loud, because you now understand that true confidence does not shout, it persists, and persistence will carry you farther than intensity ever could, and you will see how consistency shapes outcomes more deeply than bursts of effort, and this understanding will free you from extremes, helping you live balanced and whole, and you will begin to appreciate progress that is invisible, growth that is internal, and strength that does not need witnesses, and this appreciation will deepen your gratitude, and gratitude will soften your spirit without weakening it, and you will find yourself more patient with others, because you know how long growth takes, and more patient with yourself, because you no longer demand perfection to feel worthy, and this patience will change how you speak, how you choose, and how you wait, and waiting will no longer feel like punishment but preparation, and preparation will feel purposeful rather than heavy, and as days pass, you will sense alignment more often, small confirmations, gentle clarity, quiet assurance, and these moments will remind you that you are guided, even when the path curves, and you will continue forward, steady and aware, not rushing the journey, not fearing the unknown, trusting that each step is forming something meaningful, and this trust will remain with you, grounding you through all that is still unfolding. And as time continues to unfold before you, you will begin to understand that your life was never meant to be rushed, because depth cannot be formed in haste, and meaning cannot be rushed into existence, and the slow shaping you once resisted was actually protecting the beauty being formed within you, and you will see how your patience, though painful at times, trained your spirit to endure without becoming bitter, and this endurance now gives you the ability to stand firm even when outcomes are uncertain, and you will no longer feel the need to control every detail, because trust has taken root where fear once lived, and this trust allows you to release outcomes without losing hope, and you will discover that surrender is not weakness but strength refined, and as you surrender, clarity will increase, not all at once, but enough for the next step, and the next step will always be enough, and you will learn that guidance often arrives quietly, not with force but with certainty, and when it does, you will recognize it instantly, because it will bring peace rather than pressure, and you will stop forcing yourself into places that resist your presence, because you now understand that resistance is often redirection, and redirection is mercy, and as you accept this, your energy will shift, and what once felt heavy will begin to lift, and you will notice how your days become simpler, not empty but focused, not loud but meaningful, and you will find joy in consistency rather than chaos, and you will stop measuring success by how fast things happen, and instead by how deeply they last, and this change in perspective will free you from exhaustion, and you will begin to live with intention instead of urgency, and intention always brings peace, and peace will sharpen your awareness, and with this awareness you will see opportunities others overlook, because your vision was trained in stillness, and you will move when others hesitate, not out of impulse but inner certainty, and when fear tries to return, you will recognize it as familiar but no longer authoritative, and you will acknowledge it without obeying it, and this ability alone will change the direction of your life, and you will see how courage grows quietly, not through dramatic moments but through daily choices to continue, and these small decisions will compound into transformation. And one day you will look back and realize that the version of you who once doubted would not recognize who you have become, and this realization will bring humility rather than pride, because you know the cost of growth, and you will hold compassion for those still struggling, because you remember the weight of uncertainty, and instead of judging, you will encourage, and instead of withdrawing, you will remain present, and this presence will become healing to others without effort, and your life will speak louder than your words ever could. And even when you encounter setbacks again, because life will still test you, you will not collapse as before, because your foundation is no longer fragile, and though you may bend, you will not break, and though you may grieve, you will not despair, because hope is now rooted rather than imagined, and as this hope grows, you will realize that fulfillment does not come from arrival but from alignment, and alignment brings peace even before outcomes appear, and this peace will guide you through future transitions, changes, and expansions, and you will trust yourself more deeply, not because you have all the answers, but because you know how to listen, and listening will always guide you where force never could, and this, my beloved child, is how your life continues to unfold, steadily, and as this steadiness continues to grow within you, you will notice that even your breathing feels different, deeper, and calmer, as if your soul finally has space to rest, and you will no longer rush to explain yourself or defend your path, because clarity has replaced confusion, and peace has replaced urgency, and you will understand that those who are meant to walk with you will recognize your truth without convincing, and those who cannot were never meant to stay, and this knowing will remove the heaviness you once carried in relationships, and you will stop holding on to what drains you out of habit or fear, choosing instead what nourishes your spirit, and this choice will feel strange at first, but soon it will feel natural, and you will realize that growth often feels lonely before it feels free, and freedom always begins within. And as you continue, your intuition will sharpen, not in loud ways but in gentle nudges, quiet pauses, and inner clarity, and you will learn to trust these signals without second-guessing, because they have guided you safely through storms before, and you will see how moments that once seemed meaningless were actually shaping your discernment, teaching you when to stay and when to walk away, and this discernment will protect your heart from unnecessary pain, and when you face choices ahead, you will not be paralyzed by fear of making mistakes, because you understand now that growth comes from movement, not perfection, and even when you stumble, you will rise without shame, because you no longer see falling as failure, but as learning, and this grace you extend to yourself will overflow to others, making you patient, understanding, and strong in a quiet way, and people will feel this without you saying a word. And when life feels uncertain again, you will not panic, because you have learned that uncertainty is not absence, it is transition, and transitions always carry purpose. And you will remember how many times you thought it was over, only to discover it was just beginning, and this memory will anchor you when emotions shift, and you will find yourself choosing hope more easily, not forced hope, but grounded trust, and even when answers are delayed, your heart will remain steady, because you know delay does not mean denial, and silence does not mean abandonment, and you will continue forward with humility, not thinking you are above others, but knowing deeply who you are, and this knowing will remove envy, competition, and comparison from your spirit, and you will celebrate others without feeling diminished, because your worth no longer depends on position or recognition, and as this freedom settles in, joy will return in simple ways, in small moments, quiet laughter, still mornings, and peaceful evenings, and you will realize that fulfillment was never about reaching a distant place, but about becoming whole where you are, and this wholeness will prepare you for what is next, because what lies ahead requires a heart that is steady, aware, and grounded, and you are becoming exactly that, layer by layer, moment by moment, and even now, as you continue reading, something within you feels affirmed, strengthened, and calm, because this truth aligns with what your soul has always known, and you can move forward without fear, trusting that the same guidance that carried you this far will continue to lead you, faithfully, gently, and with purpose. And as you move forward now, you will notice that things once confusing begin to make sense, connections form where there were gaps, strength rises where weakness once lived, and peace settles where fear tried to rule, because you are no longer walking unaware of who you are, and though the path ahead will still require courage, you will not walk it alone, for my presence goes before you and remains behind you, steady and sure, and when doubt whispers again, as it may, you will remember this. Knowing placed deep within you, that you were never late, never forgotten, never misplaced, but carefully led, step by step, moment by moment, shaped by fire yet not consumed, refined by waiting yet not diminished, and the love that carried you through silence will now carry you through revelation, and the voice you learn to hear softly will guide you boldly, and others will sense something different about you, not because you seek attention, but because truth shines naturally, and your life will quietly speak hope to those who feel unseen, strength to those who feel weak, and faith to those who think they have lost their way. And when you grow tired you will find rest without guilt, and when you rejoice you will do so without fear, because you finally understand that your story was never about proving worth but revealing purpose, and every tear, delay, and unanswered moment shaped a heart able to carry what is now unfolding. And this unfolding will continue layer by layer, not rushed, not forced, but guided, and as doors open you will walk through them with humility and courage, knowing that what flows through you comes from me, and what stands before you is not too great, for I have prepared you quietly and completely, and even now as you read this, something within you recognizes the truth, settles into it, and breathes easier, because you are home in your calling, and this journey, my beloved child, is only beginning. And as this understanding settles deeper within you, you will begin to notice how your thoughts grow calmer, how your reactions soften, and how clarity replaces confusion, because truth has a way of bringing order to the soul, and you will realize that the strength you searched for outside was always forming quietly inside you, shaped through waiting, shaped through endurance, shaped through moments when you almost gave up but chose to continue anyway. And even now I remind you that every delay served a purpose, every closed door redirected you, and every lonely night taught you how to stand without applause, and this is why when recognition finally comes, it will not change you, because you already learned who you are without it, and when responsibility increases, you will not crumble, because you already carried weight unseen, and when others look to you for reassurance, wisdom, or peace, you will not pretend, because you lived the lessons before you spoke them, and this is how real authority is formed, not through noise but through depth, not through speed but through patience, and the tenderness you protected in a harsh world will now become your greatest strength, because compassion grounded in truth cannot be shaken, and as you step forward you will sense resistance fading, not because challenges disappear, but because fear no longer rules you, and you will move with a quiet confidence, not loud or forceful, but steady and certain, and people will feel safe around you without knowing why, because your presence carries peace earned through trials, and you will no longer question whether you belong, because belonging will flow naturally from who you are, and even if some still misunderstand you, it will not wound you as before, because you no longer seek validation from places that cannot see depth, and you will understand that your sensitivity was never weakness, it was awareness, it was perception, it was the ability to feel what others ignore, and now that awareness will guide you wisely instead of overwhelming you, and you will learn when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to wait, and this balance will protect you from exhaustion, and the rhythm of your life will finally align with peace, and when setbacks appear, you will no longer interpret them as failure but as refinement, and you will remember that nothing genuine is built without testing, and nothing meaningful is revealed without time, and your heart, once heavy with unanswered questions, will now carry assurance, not because you know everything, but because you trust the one guiding you, and this trust will free you from striving, free you from comparison, free you from the pressure to become something you were never meant to be, and instead you will unfold naturally into who you already are, and even joy will feel different now, not frantic or temporary, but grounded and steady, and sorrow, when it comes, will no longer define you, because you understand that pain is not a verdict but a season, and seasons always change, and as you walk forward you will notice that opportunities align unexpectedly, conversations open doors, and moments arrive that feel strangely familiar, as if your soul recognizes them before your mind does, and this is because preparation always recognizes purpose, and purpose always responds when timing is right, and you will see that nothing was wasted. Not even the confusion, not even the tears, not even the silence, because each piece shaped your capacity to carry what is coming, and this is why you can move forward without regret, without bitterness, without fear, because your past no longer holds you, it strengthens you, and you will finally understand that you were never behind, you were being built, and this building continues even now, quietly, faithfully, and with intention, and as this truth becomes your foundation, Your life will no longer feel like a question waiting for an answer, but like a message slowly unfolding, and this unfolding will continue, step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment, and this, my beloved child, is still only the beginning. Long before you ever knew this world, my child, I already knew your soul, and from that very moment my hand has guided your path, not by chance but by purpose, and deep inside you have always felt it, a quiet knowing, a steady warmth that pain could not erase even when you tried to ignore it, and even when you felt completely alone my eyes never left you, my beloved, and soon you will understand why every step you took mattered, because a great shift has already taken place, unseen by you yet. Known to all creation, and now I ask you to rest, for your true identity has been spoken clearly and boldly, not as doubt but as truth, and once it was spoken everything began to move, and maybe you feel it now, a soft change in the air, a sense that something is coming, a deep knowing without fear, only assurance, and this is not imagination, it is alignment, it is my word moving through all things, and even as you wait for a sign, know that I have already answered, because the moment your heart cried out in silence I began to act, even when you thought that cry was lost, for the struggles you thought disqualified you were actually the proof that showed you were ready, not because you were perfect but because you would not let darkness hide my light, and even when you doubted you still reached for me, and that is what I saw, not your mistakes or failures but your desire, and every time you stood up again, tired and unsure, I marked it as growth, not judgment, and I asked all creation if they were ready to see what I placed within you, because what I put inside you was not weak or temporary but timeless, and now it is waking up, and the closed doors you questioned were not punishment but protection, keeping your calling safe until the right time, so even if you feel behind you are exactly where you should be, because when the unseen says now, human timing no longer matters, and you have always known you were different, never too much but set apart for deeper purpose. Not to fit in but to change what exists, and the quiet seasons were not neglect but preparation, as all creation waited for you to be ready, and what is coming will not only change your life but reveal why your journey was so carefully guarded, and even the questions you whispered in the dark never troubled me, because your searching heart comes from me, and my silence was never absence but placement, shaping your spirit to stay gentle and strong, teaching you to hear my voice beyond noise, and now the changes you feel are not endings but beginnings, because I am not just arranging events but working through you, and the stirring inside you, whether restlessness, sadness, passion, or quiet joy, is all the same truth rising, and you were never forgotten or ignored but held in reserve, protected until ready, and when the unseen agreed it was time, it was not luck but perfect timing, and the struggle you faced was not weakness but resistance to what is now emerging, and the quiet moments were paths to deeper understanding, teaching you to hear my gentle voice so that when I speak boldly you will not pull away, because you are ready, even with doubt and pain, for your life carries a unique mark, and when someone like you steps forward change follows, and the feeling you have always carried is true, you felt like an outsider because you were never made for limitation. And every time you tried to shrink yourself it hurt because I placed a strong calling within you, not for pride, but purpose, and your awareness, your depth, your sensitivity are not accidents but spiritual sight, and that is why sorrow did not destroy you and rejection did not end you, because even in despair you still whispered to me and I was always near, and now you must know this truth, you are the turning point you have been waiting for, chosen not because you are fearless but because you are willing, and the challenges were proof that opposition saw your rise before you did, and I did not hide you as punishment but prepared you in quiet so you would emerge full and grounded, not defined by opinions or past mistakes but by who you truly are, the one who chose kindness over bitterness, forgiveness over pain, movement over retreat, and because of this the trials ahead will not break you but lift you, reveal your light, and surround you as a living sign of my hand upon your life.